Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
6:35 in the morning. You're on 1030 The Voice, local news and talk. Like we're gonna get serious talking sports with the lowest, the freest sports intern. I gotta say it every year. My lawyers say the freest sports intern in America, Ryan Larson.
You're lucky for that. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing? Feels like I just talked to you.
It's true. It's very true. But with Thanksgiving and everything going on, and Ed's last week ever, we wanted to bring you on in that mission.
Great ad.
So,
thank you.
So let's talk, Matt. You were. I did not get to watch it. I did watch LSU Arkansas. Was the only game I got in on my Saturday a little bit. The magic of the DVR. But tell us. Let's start with Larson. Tell us about what happened to the University of Arizona up in Washington.
Well, they got creamed by Washington, is what happened. Just absolutely blown out by the Huskies. And if you look at the final score of the game, it was 44-27, which sounds a lot closer than the game actually was, because U of A was down 44-0 going in the fourth quarter. And basically what happened for Arizona is their offense completely failed to execute the first three quarters of the game. Arizona crossed midfield once before the fourth quarter. They didn't even convert a third down until well into the fourth quarter. And it was just a bad game for the offense. The final stats weren't that bad for Grant Gunnell. He was 27-39 for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns, but most of those came against Washington's second and third stringers after they had pulled their starters in the fourth quarter. And the defense as a whole was also just not able to slow down Washington at all. Washington scored 17 points in the first quarter, and it just went downhill from there until the fourth, where they basically decided to run the ball 3 times and then punt the entire fourth quarter. So just a really bad game for Arizona. After they looked pretty good against USC in week 1, it's kind of a surprising result against Washington in week 2, because Washington's not the most talented team in the Pac-12 this year. The defense is really good for them, but their offense wasn't exactly scary, but they just blew Arizona's defense out. And then I think a lot of the issues stemmed from Arizona's O-line just really struggling to block the entire game. Arizona needs to have a good ground game, and they average less than 3 yards a carry. And so that's rough for Arizona. That's not a great start. They're now 0-2.
Well, what you're missing is it's the 20th anniversary, Bill Buckmaster put it up, of the U of A firing Dick Tomey. So in the fourth quarter, they were just honoring Dick with 3 and outs for the rest of the fourth quarter. No, sorry.
Better way to honor him.
But no, I'm just kidding. I mean, but that's one of the reasons they got rid of him. They were doing too many 3 and outs
for the first 3 quarters. Yeah, I get your point.
Now, Matt, you thought the refs were against the U of A.
So I want to be very clear. The referees did not cost Arizona the game, but it did appear to me that the refs were kind of phoning it in. Like at the beginning of the game, they blocked one of our guys out of bounds, or hit one of our guys who was clearly out of bounds. The refs had a discussion about targeting, but still it would have been hitting a guy out of bounds, even if it wasn't targeting. Also, the Washington quarterback in the first or I think it was second quarter certainly appeared to be past the line of scrimmage when he fired a pass. So, and the commentators didn't discuss it. The refs didn't even flinch. I went back and looked at it, and I thought, well, that would at least have been worth a look, in my opinion. And then the third one was one of the Washington players stood over our guy after an incomplete pass and kind of looked down at the guy and taunted him. At least that's what it looked like on TV. And again, there's no discussion. Did the refs cost the Cats the game? No way. As Ryan said very accurately, the game was nowhere near as close as the score indicated.
There's a little salt in the wound. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, just, if they just do their job, that's all.
This is Pac-12's refs.
Right.
Pac-12 refs doing their job, though. They do it badly. And so the game
Thank you.
The game was over in the first quarter.
It was.
They decided we're not going to try for the rest of the game.
Totally agree with you, Ryan. That game was over very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. So we switched over in the second half to, I don't know if I can say the name of the show, but it's a cable show with Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. So
that one.
We switched over to that.
Up the creek.
Which was ironically what the first half was a little like. It's almost like we were watching the same thing.
Yeah.
Ryan, did your Utes play this weekend?
Oh, yeah, they did. They played USC, and they looked terrible. And so Utah lost by 16 to USC, and that was a big game for USC because USC is the only undefeated team in the Pac-12 South right now. and they are the team that the Pac-12 is hoping makes the Pac-12 championship game. But they hadn't looked good against either Arizona State or Arizona. Both really close games, came down to the wire for USC. They got lucky to win both of them, to be honest. And so Utah, who was expected to be good and playing at home in Salt Lake, we thought Utah could play USC tight, and instead USC just dominated that entire game, especially on defense. Utah could barely move the ball the entire game, only scored one offensive touchdown. Their other touchdown was just a fumble recovery that they took to the house. And then Keaton Slovis for USC hasn't looked right at quarterback this entire season, and he wasn't great against Utah, but he looked better, especially in the second half. He really improved throwing the ball, actually made some good, accurate throws. And so that's big for USC to go to 3-0, and they certainly look like they're going to be the best team in the Pac-12 South now because the rest of their games are at home this season. They played all their road games early now. Everything else is going to be in Los Angeles. And so as long as they can beat teams like UCLA and Colorado, it looks like USC could make it to the Pac-12 championship game undefeated, which is really good for a Pac-12 that is probably only going to have, at best, 2 undefeated teams with Oregon. And then in trying to make the playoff win, you only play 6 games plus the conference championship. That's basically the best-case scenario for the conference at this point.
So our friend Bill Buckmaster says Sumlin in third year of 5-year contract, not a good hire. Where are we at? Where are we at in the Kevin Sumlin world?
So
go ahead,
Ryan.
Buy him out. They're probably not going to buy him out. He's really expensive to buy out still. His buyout this year, I believe, is either $5 or $7.5 million, somewhere in that range. And U of A right now is on a 9-game losing streak from this year and last year, which is the longest they've had. And so that's really bad for Arizona, but they probably can't afford to buy out someone this year. They'll probably say that COVID is kind of it's kind of a lost season for everybody. And so they'll give him one more year before they can even consider buying him out, especially after all the layoffs and the hiring freeze.
So let's do this. I want to ask you and Matt. I want to ask you and Matt this question. All right, the buyout. I'm there. They have no money to do any of this stuff in the first place, and I think the donors they've tapped them enough for paying for crap coaches. What's the problem? I'll start with Matt, then we'll go to Ryan. What is if we're going to rate this guy right now? What is his deficiencies as a coach? What are we seeing?
So I will say that, first of all, we're 3 seasons in, and this is a throwaway. But the book it seems to be we're undersized, right? We don't have the size. So I think what he needs to do is what Tomey did, is to find out a strategy to get the most out of what you got. Like, so when and not to always compare somebody to Tomey, but Tomey would play the time. He would control the clock. He would do the field position thing. He would do the 3 and out and punt the other team deep into their territory if they didn't have any offense going that day. He used those tools because maybe he didn't have the biggest, strongest, fastest guys in the book. The other thing is if you don't have size, right? How do you counter that? With speed, right? So if you're playing bigger teams, you want to be able to maybe be quicker than them in some ways. So he just has to figure out a way to use the talent that he's got, because apparently, 3 seasons in, is he going to be able to get the kind of size to be competitive? I don't know. But in order to be competitive and in order to stay, he's going to have to get more out of what he's got.
Ryan Larson.
I think the biggest problem is his recruiting. He just hasn't been able to get good guys on the campus. And when Arizona hired someone, they hired him because he was really great at recruiting in Texas. He built up a really good program at Texas A&M, and they thought he was going to be able to continue at least bringing in some big time guys to Tucson, and he just hasn't been able to do that. You look at his recruiting the last couple of years. Last year, Arizona was the 59th best recruiting class in the entire country, which means that U of A is getting out-recruited by some mid-major programs, some group of 5 teams, and they were the 11th best in the Pac-12. And then in 2019, things weren't exactly any better, and with them being ranked 56th in the country and, again, 11th in the Pac-12. And for this season, they might be a little bit better in the recruiting rankings, but not by much. And so when you're unable to recruit at a high level, you're just not going to be able to compete really in college football in general, and especially in the Pac-12. And there are coaches in the past who recruit at about an average level and are able to turn it into something great. Kyle Whittingham does a good job of that at Utah. But for Arizona and Kevin Sumlin, he just hasn't been able to develop any of these players into really big stars. Any of the guys he's gotten, I would say, none of them have developed into really great, reliable players. And so if you're unable to recruit, you're basically ruining the rest of your team going forward because you're never going to develop any great players. And someone just has not done a good job of that. He has been really bad at recruiting for Arizona. It really hasn't improved at all from what Rich Rod was doing or anyone in the past. And that's been the biggest flaw for someone. And then his development has just not been there, and it's led to Arizona just being one of the worst teams in the Pac-12.
Matt Neely, counterpoint.
And I would just say that my brain is going to explode the next time I hear a coach or a media pundit or anybody say that, well, it's hard to recruit to Tucson because, Mike Leach seemed to have done it in Oregon, right? You got Boise State, there's all these markets, right, that you wouldn't consider ideal places to play football that they managed to get good people at. I mean,
this is why you get paid the money you get paid. Right. This is the hand you've been dealt. You're going to have to recruit the Tucson, and we're going to pay you millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So, last question for Larson, then we'll move. I want to move into basketball, U of A basketball, because that starts Wednesday, and then Pac-12 basketball. So, what was Sumlin's story in Texas A&M? Right? How did he get that job? How did he lose it? And why did we hire? What were we really hiring? Did we hire an illusion of what happened at Texas A&M? What am I missing on that part?
So Sumlin was hired at Texas A&M because he was really good at Houston. He turned Houston into one of the best group of 5 teams in the country, and he coached really well there, and he recruited really well there out of Texas. And so Texas A&M hired him because they knew that he could recruit in Texas, and they knew what he could do there. And his offense worked really well in the SEC, and they recruited great out of Texas at Texas A&M. You would look at Texas A&M, and they handled the transition to the SEC pretty well from the Big 12. They've remained really competitive over the years. They now have Jimbo Fisher there at coach. And he just did a great job at Texas A&M with that. And Arizona saw him. Texas A&M under Sumlin was ranked in the top 10 several times. He was the coach behind Johnny Mandel. And they looked at him and they said, if he can build Texas A&M and get them competitive, maybe we can bring him to Tucson. Not that far away from Texas. Arizona still recruits a lot out of Texas, and maybe he can do something with that. And that just hasn't worked. He hasn't been able to get high-level recruits out of Texas or out of California. And Arizona, since 2017, has only had 2 4-star guys enroll in the program. That is not going to make you competitive against anyone, and especially in the Power 5, where most teams the better teams get at least a couple 4-star guys every year. The best teams are getting half of their recruits as 4-stars. But someone just hasn't been able to capitalize on that, and his reputation has taken some hits after getting fired from Texas A&M.
Ed Alexander has a wiki update.
Thanks to Tom over here on my right. A reminder that Texas A&M fired Sumlin after 6 seasons and paid him $10 million to go away, and then we picked him up. And now A&M
fired him because he wasn't winning SEC championships.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying they fired him, and they still had to pay him to go away, and now we're paying him, and we would have to. It's like that's
all right. So my last thing before we go to break on Kevin Sumlin, I feel as though, and we had this problem with A-Rod Rich Rod. I have a guy who's totally disconnected from the Tucson community. Okay. So you tell me, Matt, you do the U of A social circuit more than I do. Tell me, am I missing something? Does he look like a guy who's involved in the Tucson community at all?
I don't know. I mean, he helped out visibly with some. My wife's involved in Angel Charity, and he personally helped out last year. So
that's good.
He's not been invisible in the community from that regard.
I mean, do you see like a thing where he goes to a local school and says, "Hey, kids, let's do some blah blah blah"? I don't know if that's happening or not.
I'm not plugged into all that, but I haven't seen it. But I just think you got 2 years of no progress. This is a throwaway year. I think if you can at least demonstrate that they fight and play hard, I think that would help for next year.
So I always talk about this with candidates, right? Can you get emotionally invested in the candidate, right? Is Tucson emotionally invested into Kevin Sumlin and the Wildcats? It's a tough sell.
I don't see it.
Not really.
tough sell.
No.
All right, let's go to break. We got Ryan. Yes, Ed.
Go ahead. I'm going to talk.
Ryan Larson, Christy Simone. You want to talk football when we come back?
Yeah,
it's your last week. You can talk anything you want.
Well, it's interesting that first of all we're playing. The week Friday after Thanksgiving is always the U of A ASU game. Of course, it's not this week, so we're playing Saturday. We're on Fox 11 for the third week in a row. We're on National Fox TV. What's up with that?
This coming week?
Yes, against UCLA at 6. Why is that? And two is that ASU is playing a Sunday game.
That's right.
Where'd that come from? So I just thought I'd bring up a couple of things while we're talking football.
It's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing? Because we got the guy who's
classic U of A. We're on national TV when we suck, and we'll get buried when we're good.
Yeah.
Live life.
More surfing. It's time with Joe Satriani. Wake up, Tucson. How you doing? 5 before 7 already. We still got more sports to check out for you here real quick. Tucson traffic still look like we have an accident at Kinney in front of Arizona Sonora Desert Museum and something in the way, a problem at Tanque Verde and Bear Canyon. 60, make that 80 today, 70 tomorrow, mid-70s for Thanksgiving Day. It's the mid-50s. Pretty darn nice right now. I feel free, baby. Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce. Cream.
Those are three guys that could play an instrument.
A little bit.
6:55 in the morning. Ryan Larson's like, cream, isn't that something you put in your coffee? I never heard of a group like that. Sorry.
I thought that was a song by the Wu-Tang Clan.
Just to help out Larson, it is Miley Cyrus's birthday today.
It is.
Oh, good to know.
Rock on.
I was just reading, Matt, a fake Kevin Sumlin Twitter account. It's just making me laugh my head off. One of my favorite ones is, good thing I'm not getting paid per win. And Greg Hansen just did a column yesterday that they are on a 9-game losing streak right now, the Cats. So let's talk the basketball. We only got about 3 minutes, so this is just the way life is. We spent so much time talking about someone. The Cats open up against my Lumbercracks on Wednesday. Just give us a little bit of a preview of what Pac-12 basketball is going to look like this year in 3 minutes or less.
All right, so I'll start with U of A. And so U of A this year, as the NBA draft happened a couple days ago, we know that they lost Nico Mannion, they lost Green, and they lost Najee. And so Arizona had to replace 3 of their best players. And what they did this year is a little different from past years because there's no clear one-and-done player on Arizona's roster coming in. Their best recruit is Dallin Terry. He's out of Phoenix, and he is a 4-star guy, ranked 49th in the country. And then Sean Miller's also got a bunch of international players. There's 7 international players that are going to be on U of A's roster this year. And so this is a team that they might not be great this year. They might not contend for the Pac-12 title. But this is a team that, because guys aren't going to be leaving immediately after the season, that Sean Miller could potentially build some depth for once. And by the end of, say, year 2 or 3, this could be one of the best teams in the Pac-12 and one of the teams that is ready to compete for national titles if they all develop well. As for the rest of the Pac-12, your best teams this year are teams like Arizona State and Oregon are getting a lot of love. And the only teams in the top 25 for the Pac-12 are ASU at 18 is the highest ranked, which is pretty shocking for ASU. Bobby Hurley's done a good job. And then you have Oregon at 20 and UCLA at 22. So one of those teams is probably going to be your Pac-12 champion just because they have a little bit more depth. And Oregon is recruited well. I would bet on Oregon to win the conference title, but as of right now, we don't really know how the entire schedule is going to shake out, how many games are going to get canceled, but those 3 are going to be your best teams going into the season. That's what I would expect.
Tell me about the so the U of A has their notice of allegations, the NOA, and I guess they kept it. They said they had to keep it private, right? Even though they're a taxpayer.
They don't have to. They want to, right?
Right. Correct. Where are they at on that? What are we hearing about the notice of allegations, or what's the process with that?
So when the NCAA sends the notice of allegations, that means that the school has been notified of exactly what the NCAA is investigating, what they're going to be charged with, and what the Arizona notice of allegations says is there were 9 total charges of misconduct, 5 of which are level 1 violations, which are the highest level of violations. So that's what Arizona is going to be investigated for. Now the NCAA process after that, it can still be several months. There's no official timeline from when the school gets the notice of allegations to when they're actually penalized by the NCAA, but we've seen other teams in similar situations like Auburn the other day just recently self-imposed a postseason ban to try and get ahead of these allegations. So Arizona, we could potentially see them take some steps in the next few months of self-imposed penalties to try and lighten the load.
This is a great year to do a self-imposed penalty. Do it now.
It really is.
Get it done. That's what I've been
throw the season away.
saying for at least a year now. Just
There's going to be no one in the stands anyway, right?
There's going to be no one in the stands, and it's a developing team. Just throw the season away, self-impose a postseason ban, and get it done.
Yeah.
Ryan, have an amazing Thanksgiving. Great job
Ryan,
as always.
All the best. Thank you for everything,
All
man.
the best, Ed.
All the best.
Appreciate it. Have fun in retirement. I'm going to miss you.
All right. Wake up, Tucson, at 7:04. I'm at Alexander at 10:30, The Voice. It was a deadly weekend in southern Arizona. TPD responded to a call Saturday near Anglim and Star Pass, found 2 adult males with signs of gun trauma. 2 were transported to the hospital with gunshot injuries. A man was shot Saturday near Stone Inn River. He's being treated at a hospital. Police are investigating an officer-involved fatal shooting Saturday in Oro Valley. OVPD says officers were dispatched to a welfare check in a 10,000 block of Poinsettia Drive. A man came to the door and pointed a gun at officers. The exact details not released, but the man died at the scene. And a serious accident Friday at South 12th and Bilby caused 2 of the drivers and 4 pedestrians injury. A 36-year-old male and a 6-month-old child were pronounced dead at the scene. 2 additional pedestrians were injured when 2 vehicles collided. One crashed into a nearby bus stop. Detectives believe excessive speed was a factor. And as we've been talking, the Huskies trounced the Arizona Wildcats. You can put any word in there you want. 44-27 on Saturday night in Seattle. Washington led 37-0 after 3 quarters. The Cats are 0-2. Next they'll travel to UCLA, 6 o'clock Saturday night, again on Fox 11. The Bruins are 1-2 after losing to Oregon. ASU will play Utah in a rare Sunday game in Tempe. Coach Miller's U of A men's basketball team tips off against NAU at McHale. That game at 5 o'clock. Wednesday night, that's your pre-Thanksgiving basketball on the Pac-12 network. Remember, no fans are allowed, so we'll pipe in some little sounds for you. And Coach Barnes' preseason's number 7 Lady Cats tip off at home Sunday at noon against NAU. Tucson traffic, a little something in the way at Tanque Verde and Bear Canyon. And an accident out on Kinney by just east of the Desert Museum. Mostly sunny, breezy, but nice today. 80, can't beat that. Come on, we're in November 23rd, near 70 tomorrow, 10 degrees cooler, near 60 on Friday. But right around 73, 75 for your Thanksgiving Thursday. We're talking 55 right now.
Satisfy me.
Uh-oh.
Satisfy me.
The puberty duet of
There you go.
Matt and Ed.
So wrong.
It's like that Brady Bunch song when Peter was going through puberty while they were singing the song.
Time for a change, I believe, was the...
Time to rearrange. 7:08 in the morning. You're on the Wake Up Tucson show. Ed Alexander's
Short
third to
timer.
last day.
Yep.
That's a 2, carry the 3. 8 more hours of Ed.
Wow.
And then
I
peace
guess.
shall reign.
Put it that
Peace
way.
shall reign on the airwaves.
universe. Yes. Look at that. Bye-bye.
Good morning to Matt Neely.
Good morning.
And good morning to you all out there. First and foremost, kudos to you and everyone who gave to the Bike in the Box Marathon on Friday. Last number I saw was $17,200.
Wow.
Awesome.
In
That's
3
so
hours
beautiful.
of radio.
Wakey's rocked it.
Way to go, guys.
You know, I'm touched because we keep asking and
Yeah.
they keep giving.
Right?
Right? I mean, they supported the Gap Ministries thing at the beginning of the month, and you ask them again for this, and they do it again, and you guys are amazing. So I am touched, honored, and moved by your generosity, and you know, we are a crew here that tries to take care of each other, and even though you have a town that just keeps fighting against you, you guys keep making it happen. So it's good stuff. So, well, look at this. Jesse Lugo's on the phone.
Yeah.
Magically.
I
Jesse
love
Lugo, what's up, buddy?
Well, again, we want to thank everybody that called in on Friday the 20th, because here's the beauty about it again, guys. 92% of all the people that donated went online and donated. The money's already in the bank, so it's $17,200.
Wow.
But it's a little time consuming because then I have to insert all the information in the database, so this way we have a follow-up list. But thank you to everyone. Funds are still coming in, so by next week I'll give you another update. I'm pretty confident we should reach the 18,000 mark by next week.
Awesome. So remember, if you haven't given to Bike in the Box, go to lugocharities.com and hit the donate page on the left, the donate button on the left side of the homepage. So,
of course, we want to thank Deb Weissel with Tagline Media that hosts our website. Just a great job of doing so. But also, Ed, when was the year that you were on KTKT? What was the first year?
Hold on, he's talking on a phone call. So,
yeah, the reason why I'm asking, if it was 69, 68.
I think he said. I think it's 70 because I told him 70? I think he started a few years before I was born. So a few months before I was born. So
yeah, because I was 68, 69. I had my transistor radio on my bicycle that you had my autograph on your picture that I gave you.
Yes, sir.
Chris, taped with black tape on the handlebars, and of course after we took the transistor radio off, then we got a little WD-40 and took the black tape off the handlebars, so the bike had to be nice and clean all the time.
So you're saying is you had a transistor radio taped to your bicycle?
That's correct.
Right, cruising through. You're in the 22nd and what area again that you grew up in?
Well, that was Barrio Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Grew up on Cuesta and St. Mary's, 1406 West St. Mary's Road. In fact, the market right next to it was Jolie's Market. It's a Domino's Pizza there now. We lived in a house just next door, just west of it. But then in the 1972, 73, Model Cities came in and completely just remodeled all the homes there, and I sold the house, and I moved to the house where I lived at close to Reed Park now.
Ed Alexander.
Yes, sir.
Jesse has a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Ed, were you on the radio in 1969?
I was not. No.
When was first month and year?
It was sometime 70.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm not sure what month it was. I'm lucky I remember that. So.
Amen.
But, that was the first, there was another regime, the Frank Khalil regime and all that stuff was before me.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
But if you're 1970 on, I can tell you that I was one of many. We probably were listening to KTKT when we were going to our favorite drive-in theaters.
Right. Go.
With our dates with $1.50 carload.
Yep. Yeah. Got it. Weren't we? We were all kids. I was just a kid. I was like 20 years old when I started. So if you were like 17 in high school, we were the same. We were definitely the same. So it was kind of cool.
Talking about drive-ins, I was up in Phoenix last Friday doing some business. But at Bethany Home Road in 57, I took some pictures. A developer has a 10 drive-in theater business there. I'm going to put see if there's any investors here in Tucson who want to do the same thing. But I visited with one of the managers. Boy, you ought to see this complex. Where again, there's no longer have the post with the speakers on it because you just dial into a FM station or
into an FM radio. Yeah.
I said, but it's a when we were passing by doing some business calls on it. I said, and I told John, the person that was Ubering me, I said, pull over it. I said, get over there. I said, what is that? I said, it's a drive-in theater. Look at that. It's brand spanking new. It must be only like maybe 4 or 5 months old, but I'll get that information up. Maybe we'll have one of the investors on Wake Up Tucson that might want to get this information, maybe build one of those here in Tucson, Arizona.
Well, I like the idea, man. Jess is always thinking this way. I like this. So, Jess, thanks for all the efforts you and, of course, Jim and the entire Elks crew and everyone that helps you and Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, of course. But thanks for all that you do to get these kids these bikes. So,
well, we could have done it without Wake Up Tucson, Christy Simone, Ed Alexander, of course, Jimmy Stanford with the Elks Lodge. But all the listening audience on Wake Up Tucson, you make it happen for many, many children in need this year.
Awesome.
And I think
Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
And I think it's Mrs. Lugo's breakfast that powered everybody through.
That's true.
Absolutely.
True.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed those tamales because they were fresh.
Already
the
started
night before.
them. Yes, sir.
No, they're amazing. And what
Thank you.
I like about the tamales is a really great beef to masa ratio, right? Sometimes you get those ones that are like 80% masa, 20%
Right.
beef. This feels like more like the other way around. It's perfect. Thank
Really
you, Jess.
good. Thank you
The
very
last
much.
thing you want to say when you eat a tamale, where's the beef?
Where's the beef? You guys, we'll think about you all through the holidays. Thank you so much.
Jesse, have a great Thanksgiving, buddy.
Take care.
Okay.
When we come back, Matt Neely is going to rock off with the Ed Alexander's top 10 reasons for retiring. So, Ed, coming up, Matt Neely has compiled Ed Alexander's top 10 reasons for retiring.
Excellent.
Here we go.
All right. All right. Wake up, Tucson. How you doing? 7:19 already, Monday morning. Christy Simone, McNeely, Ed Alexander, and you. 10:30, KVOI, The Voice, Tucson traffic got something in the way at Wilmot and Saharita Road. Boom. That'll back things up a little bit. Not too bad yet, but it's going to get there. Also, we've got an accident at Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells. Now, that could be a problem. Looks like a high-speed accident there. Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells, northbound Flowing Wells, westbound Miracle Mile right now, backed up. And then that accident out at the Desert Museum on Kinney Road. Tucson weather, sunny, breezy, 80 today, 73 Thanksgiving Day. By request from Al this morning.
Perfect.
Al's there with us every morning doing all the pools up there on the up on the ridge, man. He's the first guy to see the sun comes up every morning, and he's always calling in. Good to see you. And he says, after this year and all that, I'm still standing. God bless.
There you go.
Take care of yourself.
It's true.
And Elton still plays that song. Because he's that old now. He said, I have to play this song for me. I'm still standing. He plays it in concert every time.
It's a great tune.
Yeah.
It's a great tune. Christy Simone, Matt Neely, Ed Alexander. Ed's third to last day on the radio. Matt Neely has a great thing here. It's I love all of this. So we're going to do this starting from top 10. This is Ed Alexander's top 10 reasons for retiring. So let's go, Matt Neely.
From the home office in Pomerene, Arizona.
Yeah.
Ooh, in a jar on Funkin' Wagnall's porch.
Correct. Number 10, women who once requested Misty now ask, play shuffleboard for me.
Yeah. Ow.
Number 9, after so long in AM radio, he literally cannot talk under a bridge. Number 8, was never quite the same after he saw The Thing.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
You know, I wanted to talk about Ed and The Thing. It was like, can you shut that phone? Or whatever you got phone on. I hear someone on the phone.
Oh, it might be. Okay,
yeah, thank you very much. So when he saw The Thing, you remember when Moses, you know, and he came down off the mountain and he was all gray and everything because he saw the face of God. It wasn't that strong, but Ed had that look in his eye that he was blown away by The Thing. I'm just telling you. So that's from the movie. All right.
And at my daughter's gender reveal, I wore my Thing ? T-shirt.
Wow.
Nobody knew.
Because nobody knew.
Well, that's one of the reasons we have the It's a Girl balloon, too, up here. It's not
super.
just for you. So
Okay.
he does have Ed has a granddaughter coming up in the spring. So
That's right.
congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't do anything. But okay.
Number 7, wants
That's
to
true.
work
Right.
wants to work somewhere that doesn't start with the letter K.
Hey! Shig-a-boom!
Number 6.
So no Krispy Kreme?
No.
No Crazy Crab?
No.
Both with a
Crazy
K?
crap.
Number 6. Tired of eating lunch at 7:05 a.m.
See?
Oh,
Shig-a-boom.
that's true.
That's true.
Okay, so like I'll meet Alan Cates for lunch once in a while, like it's like 10 o'clock and we go to the sausage shop and like, this is morning guy lunch.
Yeah. Because we're all going to go and go to sleep afterwards.
What's your next one?
Number 5. He wants to call in and comment without going on the air.
Thank you. Very nice. I don't want to go on.
Number 4.
Hold on. Stop the hell right there. So this is, and it's funny, it took me years, like the 11th year, to finally yell at Ed Alexander about this problem, okay? So he sits there, and he sits there and he's talking. I can see him like he's all agitated. He's all pissed off, right? That this person is telling him, I want you to tell Chris
Right.
that and he's like, what? You know, and he keeps talking to him. He's like talking through him like he's like a suicide counselor, right? He just keeps him on the phone, keeps him on the phone, keeps him on the phone, keeps him on the phone. He's got 9 million phones ringing, okay? I got people at the that are trying to call in, and they say, well, I keep ringing, but Ed doesn't pick up the phone because he's on the phone with this person, right? And then after the person doesn't come on the air, and I say, hey, I'll go around, hand him a music list or something, and go, hey, what's going on? He goes, this person won't come on the show. I'm like, but you kept him on the phone for 7 minutes. And I told you,
They
just
kept
hang
me on
up
the
on
phone.
them. This is a talk show. If you don't want to come on
Right.
the air, hang up on them.
That's what we do. We
So,
talk.
young Tom, if you're listening over there, thank you, sir. If they don't want to come on the air and they want to tell you the story of their life or about how whatever, you say, Chris has informed me to hang up on you. So thank you. Thumbs up from Tom. What's your next one?
Number 4, the statute of limitations is up.
What's your next one?
Number 3, wants to use his real name for once. Number 2, working several FCC banned words back into his vocabulary.
Thank you. I got this self thing, yeah.
Now let me ask you this question. Hold your horses there, Neely. Over this 40, 50 year
50
career,
years.
50 years. It's really 50 years,
It
right?
sounds strange.
You're going to be just short of 50.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about
Yes.
So your bad language. How many times do you think you've done it over the years? A lot?
No.
Very few?
No. 6 to 10 in 50 years.
That's pretty amazing.
It's not bad. Yeah. You just, after you do it the first time, it's like, don't do that. But sometimes it just slips. I mean.
Do you remember a memorable one?
Well, I can't say it anyway.
Well, no, the circumstances.
No. I mean, you're just talking and it comes out. No, and you don't talk it a lot on top 40. You're only talking for like 12 seconds.
Okay.
But you never know. Or if the phone's on, you don't know it. Oh, that's not good. Those kind of things. So
now the one thing that Joe and I were always scared of, because of Thumbs and his amazing engineering feats over there, feats of strength, okay, is leaving the mics on.
Yep.
Right? Because, of course...
After we go to break and you're still on.
Every now and then.
And Joe and I are totally talking about something that's way off air kind of stuff.
That we shouldn't be talking
about.
And then we're like,
oh. And then, actually, thank God Matt's here. He's our number one guardian angel. Because he's on it.
He'll text us and going.
He's like Clarence from Wonderful Life, right?
Hot mic, baby.
He's literally going, hot mic, hot mic, hot mic, hot mic.
That's thanks to texting, but before texting,
you were screwed.
You would have to call. I'd have my mic going on. What do you want? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's live.
And what's number one?
And the number one reason that Alexander's retiring, Christopher, would you do the honors?
Pliskin Acres still needs a full-time mayor, not a part-time mayor.
I'm at it.
So, very, very good.
Right.
So
I'm going to Durham's.
We do have runners-ups.
Okay.
And then we'll do that over. Well, we're going to take a couple of calls. Let's get Umpire John calling in from the from Coral Evans.
Great White North.
It's like Coral Gables, Coral Evans up in northern Arizona.
Hey, how you doing?
We're doing damn good. How are you doing?
Good. I'm out at Sholo looking at Fool Hollow Lake campground. Anyway, I sent Ed's going to be a silver-haired fox, and I sent him a picture of what all us silver-haired foxes do. We get chased by young chicks.
Yeah.
My case,
2-year-olds.
My case, it was a 2-year-old granddaughter.
That's awesome.
That's Ed's future. Ed's future is also learning again how to do wet diapers, poopy diapers.
Yeah.
And Julie, I need some help with this one.
It's so funny you sent me that picture. Was it yesterday or Saturday? He said this is what you're going to do in retirement, and it's him with his baseball cap, and he's following his little 2-year-old who just waddles right in front of him. Because that very afternoon, I looked out my kitchen window, and the guy across the street, it's not him, but it must be his dad, is walking this little 2-year-old, just the same dang waddle, walking behind them. So I guess this is absolutely what you have to do.
So remember, when it comes to diapers, when you hear the phrase "it's going up the child's back," you got problems.
I'm out of here.
Thanks for that visual.
2 generations worth. Anyway, no. Hey, Ed is so short, he can sit on the edge of a dime and dangle his feet. Yeah. Ed is so short, you better not have a long conversation with him. He's got 2 days and a wake-up, so all the best, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being there. We'll come see you in Flagstaff. Can't wait to see you.
The bar is open.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much.
So let me tell you, I want to tell a Fool's Hollow Lake story here. So this is like my George Costanza moment, right? So we go up there, up in Sholo. I have a state parks pass, right? So they give you 2, right? There's the one that hangs from your thing, and then there's a little card, right? Which is attached to it, right? And I always have the little one in my wallet. So it's like a Tuesday in Sholo. There's nobody there, okay? We roll up. We got this lady looking very important, and I show her the little card because I wasn't carrying the placard up in the thing. She goes, "Oh, sir, that's only for this. You cannot use that at the park." And I go, "Get the hell out of here!" And literally, she would not honor. I'm like, I paid for it. It was my Costanza moment.
Right.
So I'll never go back to Fool's Hollow again.
Fool's Hollow.
Donna, hold on. We'll come back to you after the CBS Bloomberg News, and I know she wants to lay some love on Ed Alexander. We also have the runners-up to the top 10 reasons for retiring. If you have your own additions, bonus tracks to the top 10 reasons for Ed retiring, give us a call, 790-2040. Wake up.
Wake up, Tucson. What are you doing? 7:34 in the morning, Monday. It's only Monday. It feels like Monday. Not bad. after watching all that football and stuff like that. Tucson traffic. We've got something in the way at Wilmot and Saharito Road down there. Is it backing up? It might be. Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells, that is an accident there. Also out at Kinney and Arizona Sonora Desert Museum, right by there right now. Mostly sunny. Should be a darn nice day today. Maybe a little breezy, but not bad. Unless you're raking leaves, right? 80 today. 73-ish on Thanksgiving Day, and then cooling off next weekend. We'll worry about that then. Right now, mid-50s, getting ready to start warming up here. Boom, boom. Ooh, doo, doo, da. I remember seeing the Police on stage, U of A Centennial Hall.
Wow.
When they were first album or so. And that was back when Centennial Hall actually had acoustics before they fixed it and screwed it all up.
Oh.
But so now you can't even go see a Broadway show at Centennial Hall because you can never hear what they're saying. They have ruined it. But we saw B.B. King, saw the Police, saw Irie Jeff, saw Tom Petty at Centennial Hall. Some great stuff. So,
when we talk about the decline of Tucson as we've had on this show over the last 3 decades, all you have to do is look at the how the quality of entertainment that wants to come to Tucson has declined over the last 30 years to tell you where we're at from going from maybe a soon-to-be major city to a 3rd or 4th tier city. That's where we're at now. Because in those days we used to get the Police. Now we get insane clown posse at the Rialto.
At the Rialto.
No insult to you ICPers out there.
But we do get Max Sabbath. And so, who does Black Sabbath songs dressed as the McDonaldland character? So we haven't lost everything. Come on, guys.
We definitely have
be
some
positive.
Between that, Dred Zeppelin, right?
Dred Zeppelin is the best.
And then
we'll play some next.
And then what was the name of our listeners that told us about the? It's the mariachi band that does Metalachi. Remember
Metalachi. Coming up. They're great. They played on the patio at Hotel Congress. Or on the stage in the Club Congress. Metalachi. We'll get some of that.
All right, 7:36 in the morning. You're on 10:30 The Voice, local news and talk. Ed Alexander's birthday party. Whatever. Retirement party. His birthday is a month later.
Well, there's so many balloons, it's hard to tell what's going on.
Yeah, this lady didn't know at the dollar
mitzvah,
store if it was your birthday, your wife was pregnant. They didn't know what was going on with the balloons I bought. Let's go right to the phones. Let's go to longtime listener and friend of the show, Donna Alou. Donna, what's up?
Whoops, I got to push the button. Oh, thumbs. Go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning, Donna.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. So when does the baby due?
March.
Oh, okay.
I have time to get ready for this.
Yeah. Oh, I am going to miss you so much. And I also want to say I knew Amy. Her name was Amy Ohm.
Right.
And,
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And when John, for his brief stint as a Republican, I worked on his campaign, so I spent many an hour at their house, stuffing envelopes and stuff. And she was the sweetest lady.
She is
I'm so
sweet
sorry
lady.
to hear that she's gone. But anyway, and then I'm going to miss you too, Ed. But I'm really happy for you. You deserve, all
Thank
the
you.
joy you can get.
You're
Spend
always
time with
being
your
there.
Granddaughter.
Helping us out around here, making sure we knew what we were talking about a lot of the times. And, check me out on Facebook. I haven't checked out my Facebook for a while, but I've checked out everybody else's because I like to say happy birthday and stuff like that. So I'm going to check mine because I know there's a bunch there. And when I have time, I'll go through all that
we'll
stuff.
keep in touch on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm sure every now
Okay.
and then you'll pop in onto the station and get on and say hi to Chris and let us know what's going on with you.
What's happening in Pliskin Acres?
What's happening? Pliskin Acres sounds like it's expanding from the last newscast I heard.
People shooting
Expanding
everywhere.
all the way to Oro Valley.
Ay. What a town. Well, defund. That's what you get. Thank you.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Thanks,
have
Donna.
a great day. Happy Thanksgiving, and Love you guys.
Love you too, Donna.
Thanks
You
for the
take
call.
care.
Thank you.
Now, an update to the whole thing with the startup Tucson and Zach's group bribing people to come to Tucson to live here. These stay-at-homers.
We're the Montpelier of the Southwest.
Right. You said it's $10,000 they're bribing you with to go to Vermont, right? So here's the best part. This just happened over the weekend. So Ed and I, we didn't talk about this. I'm the economic development director for Pliskin Acres. All right. So what happened was Ed and I met with some of the folks in town, and we want to bribe people to come to Pliskin Acres also. So what's happening is Zach and the crew, they're doing $7,500. That's chump change, okay? Ed and I we're going to give out $94,000 for any remote worker that would like to move into Pliskin Acres. So the way it works is they get 94, and then they kick back 10 to Ed.
Thank you. That's how it works in Pliskin Acres. Above board. In the city, it's under the board. Okay, if you want a job at the city, you got to pay for it.
Zach's crew with their, here's some free internet from Cox. We're going to give, first of all, free unlimited syphilis tests at Chuck's thing over there on Miracle Mile. Anytime you want. Syphilis, STDs. And actually, part of the deal for the bribe is Chuck himself will provide and do the syphilis test in person. So that's amazing, okay? So, Chuck, thank you. Mr. Huckleberry, you're an amazing servant of humanity. So that's good. We're also going to be giving some 50% off at all vape shops, all right? And we're going to go with Greg's favorite, 70% off all Grape Ape vape juice.
Pancakes and syrup, vape juice.
So we're going to do that, So, again, if there's anything else that you guys can think of that would help us get more people in the Pliskin Acres. So, look, we're doing $94,000 a piece. You're going to net to $84,000 because you got to kick Ed back as $10,000 as the mayor.
It's fair.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Chuck's going to give free STD and syphilis tests for life at the new bowling alley.
So,
all right. And then 50% off all vape juice, 70% off Grape Ape. So why not? The other thing also I forgot in honor of Dr. Fleckenstein is
the witch hazel hand sand. That was good stuff.
And then the
I
remote.
tried some of that.
Every week you get 5 free lottery tickets.
Wow.
For a year.
That's nice.
So we're going to
helping education then.
Thank you very much. 790-2040 is the phone number. Ed, you pick one.
Already had Bill lined up there, and
all
since
right.
my thumbs don't
Bill
work that
number
well.
2. Bill, you got any other ideas we can bribe people to come to Pliskin Acres?
Oh, there's got to be something out there like free pizza or something,
Right?
Yeah,
it's always pizza with gelatin. That's all.
Pizza for everybody. Oh, and don't you
Rocco's.
forget, I'm the bag man. I'm carrying the black bag with the dough in it.
Now let me ask you a question. If Ed's
walking
kicking
around money,
if they're kicking, if they're kicking Ed back 10 G's, right? That's a lot of money. Are your arms ready to carry that much cash? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I've been bulking up because he's going to retire, and it's going to be even more money.
Well, yeah, but not that many people really want to come in. So even with 10, even with 40 grand or so, they don't really want to come into Pliskin
It's
Acres.
not that heavy. We could probably spend that half a day somewhere.
So what you're saying is, as it comes in, you and Ed will be having a go out, is what you're saying.
Oh, it goes out about as fast as it comes in. Yeah. It's just like it's on wheels.
So Bill number 1 has elevated the syphilis tests.
and a free frame of bowling.
Unlimited STD testing, but you have to read Huckleberry memos while you wait.
Yeah.
So you see that you're not helping us. We need to incentivize.
Did I put a thing up your nose for that? I'm just never mind.
Wrong stuff.
What test is that?
Hold on, let me ask the censors.
No.
Where did they stick that again?
I just wanted to tell Eddie that it's been a pleasure listening to you guys all these years, and the music is just so much fun. And actually, I've learned quite a bit about the music from you two guys over the years, too.
And I've learned a lot from this guy. That's for darn sure. Yep.
Yeah, no question about it.
Mr.
And,
Dell, thank you for being a friend. I made so many new friends here. It's amazing, thanks to Christy Simone. And,
exactly. I've said that before. Without the Wake Up Tucson events and things like that, we wouldn't have met everybody.
Right. Good stuff. Good people.
The number one benefit from this show, when we look back, is the friendships that have been made.
Oh, yeah. No question about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Well, guys, I'm going to let somebody else call in.
Okay.
And,
Well, we got a couple more days, so.
See you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
790-2040 is the phone number. Let's go to Tia Gloria. She's got some thoughts on the Pliskin Acres. Gloria, what's up, lady?
Well, it's a mixed bag over here in Pliskin Acres. And
That's true.
Well,
You're the vice mayor of South Pliskin Acres.
well, all righty then. I want a pay raise.
You got it. You got it. We'll just tax them some more. Don't worry.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got this covered.
Remotely.
96,000 per worker. 2,000 goes to Tia Gloria.
There you go.
Right. I work remotely from home in my pajamas and have for how many months, Mr. Mayor? 'Cause I don't give
It's
a rip.
okay. We still pay you, right?
Yeah.
That's how
We
it
had
goes in
an
government
issue.
jobs.
We had an issue here at Pliskin Acres, and I called a city worker who shall remain nameless, and I said, how can we get help? And he said, well, you should be calling the city manager's office. And so I went and found the city manager, and there was a place where you could leave an email. And I did so, and expected a return. It was during the week. It was middle of the day, not noon, but like 2 in the afternoon. I figured, they'll get right on it. Have never, ever heard back from them. It's got to be 2 weeks now. This woman I know was being told that 2 city employees were going to come to her house, check the roof and windows to see if the Davis Monthan airplanes were causing, or the airport airplanes were causing damage to her house. And I said, I just can't believe the city has workers to do that, And so, and I said, no. When they show up, you put me on speed dial, and I'll talk to the suckers, and I'll get rid of them for you. Well, yeah.
Now,
anyway.
I think it was so cute because you said the word City of Tucson, and we'll get right on that in the same sentence.
Yeah.
I've always been a Pollyanna, Chris. I've always thought there is a Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny loves me.
But they don't work for the city. Yes.
So what I appreciate, I finally broke down Tia Gloria after all these years, right? That she now says there's a fine line between her beautiful optimism and being a Pollyanna. So I appreciate that.
Okay. One final thing about. Why else would I live here in the middle of this place? Oh my God! But they're building 4 $500,000 houses across the street from them. One is going to be $630,000, and I thought, really, what kind of idiots? I mean, my taxes have already started going up, but it'll be nice to see rich idiots living across the street from me. Good for them. Good for them, I say. But I got to tell you this about Ed. I've got to tell you. Another person who lives in my neighborhood, oh, my God, do they have a gorgeous house with a wall.
Sure.
They have a wall, of course. And he remembers being very poor on the west side, and he also would come home to an empty house because his mama cleaned houses, and he would make himself a bean burrito and turn on his little transistor radio, Jesse, and sit on the stoop and eat his burrito and listen to Ed. And he said, and life was good because Ed Alexander made it so.
And on the west side, at the end of the day.
You met him. You met him here at one of Teddy's birthday parties.
Oh, cool.
And every time we get together, he says, remember when I got to meet Ed Alexander? I said, yes, I do.
We all grew up together, man. It's crazy. We've been in a town this long, and we all stayed here. We all grew up here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what the friendships are all about. That's what is so cool.
It's in the water. It's in the water or something. And we cannot thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You and Miss Julie, you're just wonderful.
No, T, I'm so glad I met you and Ted. Just so glad. And we will party. Now I can.
Yes, Baccio bound.
It doesn't matter what time of day it is, right? That'll be a good thing.
We're
Sweet.
all available.
Thank you.
Okay.
Love to you and
Bye,
Teddy.
everybody.
Talk to you
Happy
soon.
Thanksgiving.
See you at the party, okay? Don't forget our...
If I could figure out how to register for that, I would.
I'll
We'll
start sending out emails with links today. I'll make it easy for you. I promise.
Muchas gracias.
Sí.
Okay.
All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving, Gloria.
My buddy up in Phoenix, maybe free body armor that you can have emblazoned with maybe a Chuck or a Rahina face on it, or they're kind of a little logo for the city or the county. So
Nice. Yeah.
So I mean, if Startup Tucson and Cox can bribe people to come to Tucson, so can we to Pliskin. So, Matt Neely, Chris DeSimone, Margaret, and Susie, hold on. We'll get to you when we come back. Here it is, Metalachi, Sweet Child of Mine by GNR.
Yeah.
A good song is always a good song, yeah? Hey, wake up, eh? Yeah, 7:52. I know you guys get up early. Sometimes you get up earlier than we do. So thank you for being with us, Wakies. It's 7:52, 8 minutes before 8 o'clock already. Zach Yenser, tipping point, just after 9 at 10:30. The Voice, Tucson traffic, Samo, Wilmot, and Saharita. And don't tell me, Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells, and that could be an injury accident, so watch out there this morning. Sunny, breezy, 80, perfect little day. Let me just see how nice you guys are out there. You know what I mean? What a beautiful Tucson morning. A couple of days before Thanksgiving, 80 today, 73, 75 Thanksgiving Day, and about 55 and climbing right now. Just wait. Yes.
Nothing better than whoever came up with the concept of Dread Zeppelin, of a reggae band doing Zeppelin covers with an Elvis impersonator as the lead singer.
As the lead singer.
Tort Elvis. And Charlie Hodges, who hands out the scarves during the show.
So I used to work at a bar in Flagstaff when I was going to school, and Dread Zeppelin actually did play the bar.
Really?
Yep. The two biggest acts we got were that and a way over the top, over the hill.
Molly Hatchet.
Molly, thank you.
Is that who it was? You keep telling us about that. That who it was, Molly Hatchet?
Oh, my Lord God. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Margaret Burkholder on line 2.
Margaret.
What's going on, lady?
Good morning.
Checking in from Vail this morning?
Yes, I am driving in on my way to school.
Excellent. I think about you a lot. You were a great lady, and they passed you over in this city thing, and it's good to have you just taking care of the kids out at Vail. Way to go.
Yes, loving on them every day. So if you're going to recruit to come live in your town, you obviously... Not everybody can work from home. Not everybody can do that. You know, there's dogs barking and obviously planes blowing out windows. So I've heard, just for you, Rahina's going to give you $1 leases for office space downtown.
Well,
wow. Yes.
Right?
Are these the burned out buildings from the riots? Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Ed always liked that natural wood feel, so the plywood on the windows, he wants to keep it there.
And they paint the walls for free.
Yeah, right. And they change it a lot. That's great.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even paint the streets. It's great.
We like to call it ALM, Alexander Lives Matter. So,
Margaret. Still have it in you.
Margaret, thanks for listening. Thanks for all the times you stepped up for this town, and we appreciate it, as always.
Super.
So worth it. All right. Love you guys.
Love you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, same to you. Bye-bye.
7:55 in the morning, 790-2040. Let's go to Susie on line 4. Susie, you're on with Chris, Ed, and Matt.
Troublemaker.
Oh, troublemaker, yeah. I'm not saying goodbye because we'll probably see more of him now than we ever saw him before.
He'll be early to the happy hours.
Yep,
yeah.
That's true.
I just have to laugh about the fact that somebody put on that Remembering Tucson not very long ago, and they said, oh, do you remember that guy named Ed? I think it was Alexander, and I think he was on KTKT. And people are saying, he's still on the radio. And they're going, oh, no, he's not.
He's too old for that.
Oh, my God, you had Dad. And I thought, this is awful. And we convinced them that you were still alive. You were still... Did you see that? You've got to go on it.
I haven't been on there for a while. No, there's a lot of good people there and a lot of great memories. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Remembering
they were
Tucson.
remembering you like you weren't even around anymore. It was horrible when some people said, he's on KVOR.
I've gone on AM forever. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's too funny.
Super.
Anyways,
Thank you, Susie.
I just want to say kudos to both of you for just hanging in there thick and thin. And I also want to say kudos to the guy that's going to try to replace you. I don't want to know. I want to be surprised like everybody else. But
we'll let you know tomorrow.
Yeah, right. So I don't know what to say. Is that Matt that's sitting there with you?
It
is.
Okay, Matt, do you remember when we were all sitting in the bar at one of Allie's things over there by the Foothills Mall? You don't really know who I am, but I sat with you in the bar at that venue. We went around to the bar afterwards, and or where the food was or something, and sat.
Matt met a lot of women that night.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
we
They closed. I was Fox and Hound. They closed that place down.
To
Remember?
Clean up, so we went around to the bar, and I think that's the first time I was ever around Matt. So.
There you go.
Well, it's good talking to you on Facebook too. Susie.
Mesmerized by you, man.
Yeah,
Susie.
well, I just met so many nice people, you guys.
Right, that's what I'm
Boy,
saying.
oh
All the
boy.
friends we made, all the really nice people we've met, they're in our circle now. So it's a great thing.
It's wonderful. So
Hey,
love
Wakies.
y'all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, dear.
Thanks, Susie. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I was thinking about when she was saying about the Remembering Tucson, I was thinking of Spinal Tap, of course, when they said, and that's Listen to the Flower People by Spinal Tap in the Where Are They Now file.
Who are in town for a show that night.
let's do some bonus tracks on reasons Ed should retire. They didn't make the top 10.
His reasons for retiring: no more free albums from the record companies. Here's one he'll like. Too many music requests, and he's only got one pot.
Yeah.
Dad loves that one. It's exhausting to always be 7 seconds ahead of the rest of the world.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I do like that one.
Where are we? Oh, if the guest hosts bring me another obscure song to play, I'm going to go postal.
So we're talking about this is the bonus tracks for you retiring.
Oh, the top 10 reasons.
So the guy who brings some obscure songs. So definitely Hoffman.
Yes.
Brings you some obscure
Jonathan
stuff
Hoffman,
once in a while.
Yes. Matt.
Steve Farley, when he would come on, remember?
Jeez.
He's like, this is great live version of Elvis Costello singing in a sewer in 1976, and it's really hits all pops his P's in the song. And I was like, what?
Yeah. It's Farley. Yeah.
Farley.
You're right.
What's your next one?
I don't know if the statute of limitations is up on this one yet. New digital board doesn't respond to pounding as well as the old board.
I know. Lord knows. When you want to fix it, just kick it. That's it.
Let's get one more in.
He misses cutting his fingers when splicing tape.
That goes back.
All right, we got another hour to go. Christy Simone, Matt Neely, and you, 1030 The Voice.
Wake up, Tucson, 8:04. I'm at Alexander at 10:30. The Voice. A deadly weekend in southern Arizona. TPT responded to a call Saturday near Anklam and Star Pass. Found 2 adult males with signs of gun trauma. They were transported to a hospital with gunshot injuries. A man was shot Saturday near Stone and River. He's being hospitalized. And police investigating an officer-involved shooting in Oro Valley. OVPD says officers were dispatched to the 10,000 block of Poinsettia Drive. A man came to the door, pointed a gun at the officers. The exact details have not been released, but the man was shot and died at the scene. Officers with U.S. Customs and Border Protection at the FAR International Bridge Cargo Facility, that's a long name, at the Texas-Mexico border, seized $25 million of alleged liquid meth Wednesday in the fuel tanks of a commercial tractor-trailer carrying corn husks. A canine team led the officers to 1,255 pounds of the liquid stored in some 26 plastic buckets in the fuel tank. That'd be a lovely thing to have ingested, huh? Coach Miller's U of A men's basketball team tips off their season at McHale Wednesday night. Your pre-Thanksgiving TV watching, 5 o'clock against NAU. The Pac-12 network. Remember, no fans allowed at any Pac-12 sporting events through December at least. And Coach Barnes, preseason number 7 ranked Arizona Lady Cats tip off at home Sunday at noon against NAU. Tucson traffic, an accident out Speedway and Silverbell. That is backed up there. Still working Wilmot and Saharita Road and Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells. Mostly sunny, breezy, 80 today, near 70 tomorrow. Just a little change coming. That's when happens we get a little breeze and the wind blows in something new. Well, that's what's happening. The gradients are, never mind. 73 Wednesday and Thanksgiving Day. So say 75 for Thanksgiving Day. Great for outdoors. A lot of people want to be outdoors, not inside this time. Should be beautiful. 63 is only the high for Friday, and then about 70s for the weekend ahead. 55 and waiting around for the sun to warm things up at 10:30 The Voice. Downtown, yeah, baby.
All right, 8:07 in the morning. You're on the Wake Up Tucson show. Christy Simone, Ed Alexander, our good friend Matt Neely is here, and we're celebrating the third of 3 of Ed's last shows.
Jeez.
Ed has been thrown off the air, and he's out.
Finally. They ran out of money. I'm not getting paid anymore. I'm going home. Imagine that.
So Ed Alexander, deservedly a deserved retirement starting on Wednesday at 9:01.
Nice.
So lots of great calls coming in. Let's get Al on real quick, and then we got Michael Beatrice, COVID-19 lockdowns on trial.
Well, Al had to hang up because he's working, but he said when you go to Centennial Hall, ask for the headphones. He said everything is crystal clear, but you have to get there early before all the other old people or what like me. But no, and it's great. But if you sit there, you could have the best seat in the house at Centennial Hall, and you still can't hear when they sing. What they're saying or singing or anything.
That happens.
Stupid.
Remember, Ed's retirement party is on December 8th at Stardance. Go to azchefchic.square.site, and we can get your tickets for that. I got you 2 gifts before we get to Michael. It's part of your gifts this week, Ed. First of all, I am bequeathing to you my Johnny Cash Sings the Songs That Made Him Famous.
You're kidding me.
Vinyl.
Beautiful.
Yes, that's for you.
That is that on Sun Records too?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you,
then
sir.
You're finally getting your copy of Marty Robbins, Gunfighter Ballads.
And other ballads, yes.
Of course, it has Little Green Valley that you always play for Dan Shearer on there. So
okay, well, I have some for you.
So there you go.
I'll bring them to you before the week is over.
Let's get to Michael Beatrice, COVID-19 lockdowns on trial. The new update. Ed Alexander's name is on page 473, second paragraph. Mike, welcome. You're on with me and my friend Matt Neely. What's up, buddy?
Hey, good morning. Happy Thanksgiving. And Ed, so sorry to see you leaving.
Well, I'm after 50 years, you know. Next 50 years, we'll do something else. Thank you, sir.
Oh, so I've never seen you face to face. I always assumed you were about 25 or something.
Well, thank you. I look very young. Yeah.
He has the spirit of a 25-year-old, which has kept him vibrant all these years. So, Mike, the world's ending, according to the media. In relation to, we know that cases are blowing up. We know that there's hospitalizations, but what are you seeing out there?
Well, there is an increase in activity. I do think it's a bit overblown in terms of the responses that you're seeing in New York City, in California, New Mexico, and Michigan, Pennsylvania, some other states. And so what I keep wondering is, like, what's the end game of trying to shut down for a few weeks and kind of jerking small businesses around, pulling kids out of school? I mean, right now what we're seeing is we're still at about 8% of all hospitalizations are those with COVID. And then if you kind of peer the numbers through, that's it, the real number of COVID contribution to that is probably about 2/3 of that.
Right.
So, you're looking at around a little over 5% of all hospital beds are occupied with COVID patients. Not diminishing that, it's just that the biology of this isn't really changing, right? The people we've got about a 30% better survival rate than we did 6 months ago. And the people that are affected by this are still a very identifiable segment of the population. I will never understand how we lock down schools with hospitals under 1% in New York City. We shut down schools, the largest school district in the country in New York City, 1.25 million kids. It's like we're living in the Twilight Zone. I just can't believe this.
Michael, it's almost as if, like, people should know that they've gone down the wrong path on this, and they keep doubling down because nobody wants to admit that they screwed up. So they just keep doubling down.
Yeah, I do think that. It was interesting because my brother's Michigan was one of the harder hit states, the Detroit area, in the spring and April, and they're double downing on their lockdown, and that's happening now. My brother actually spent the weekend with me here in Texas, and he's a surgeon there, and we were like talking to a bunch of his buddies that are all doctors there. And I asked them the question, if you didn't know COVID existed in Detroit right now or in Michigan, would you think something was up? And they all paused, and they're like, we'd probably think it was a bad flu season because nothing's really overwhelmed. But there's respiratory infections are they're ramping up a bit. And I just thought it was an interesting thing. There's no doubt in New York, in the heat of the moment in Arizona, and all these little pockets, in the moment in summer or in the spring in like New York, Michigan, New Orleans, et cetera, you would know something really big was up. I don't know that you'd know that in most states right now. I think you kind of think this is a really bad flu season. That doesn't mean that COVID is the same as the flu. It's worse than the flu, and it's worse than the flu by a marked amount to those identifiable segments. If you're elderly, if you're severely obese, if you've got hypertension, severe diabetes, it's worse. For everybody else, it's really not worse. It's actually easier. So it's just an interesting dynamic. But
well, it's about the press, right? So I'm going to take a local story that was just in our local rag here called the Arizona Daily Star, and it says the COVID cases set record as hospital capacity erodes, right? And then as you go through you go a little deeper in the story, like not most of us, some of us do. Mm-hmm. You notice that they say, we also have people here that are here for elective surgeries and stuff, and they're part of the, quote, amount of people using hospital beds. It's not all COVID. You're like, thank you very much, right? I mean, then they say, it's a good thing. Less people are dying of COVID. But when you read that headline, it's like the world is over. And that
a couple comments on that. Like one, just to go back to my conversation that I had over the weekend, my brother did 2 surgeries last week. He's a urologist. he did 2 surgeries. I mean, he did more than that, but he did 2 surgeries on COVID patients. These were patients that tested positive for the virus, but they weren't symptomatic. They were in there for a urology-oriented, whatever it was he was doing, and those were both COVID hospitalizations. And so if you kind of peel this through, there's 2 points on this. One, you probably have about a third of those COVID hospitalizations that aren't for COVID. The other thing is, Chris, I'm almost surprised that we're not seeing like 300,000 cases a day, because we're doing 1 to 2 million tests a day.
Right.
And based on the WHO's estimate that we could have, this was a September estimate, that we might have 750 million infections worldwide. If you kind of extrapolate that in the U.S., that would be 150 million cases. So, a little less than half the country, and maybe it is half now. So if you're doing 1 to 2 million tests a day, candidly, I'm surprised we're not seeing 300,000 cases a day. That doesn't mean that it's worse than it was 6 weeks ago. It just means we're identifying this thing is all over, which is the thing that makes these little mitigation tactics just so absurd. The last 2 times we've talked together, I've been on this whole rant about how schools don't need to be closed because there's zero outbreaks that have resulted in hospitalizations and deaths associated with schools. But did you know people under 25 in all-cause deaths, they're below 2% this year, 2% below average. Fewer people have died under 25 for all causes this year than
right.
Than last year. It's just I just don't know. I can't believe where we are.
Well, think of it. So I was in shock, and I know you saw the story. It was by Nick Kristof in the New York Times when Trump was right and many Democrats wrong. And it talks about the closing of schools and not sending kids to school is the dumbest thing you could do.
It is interesting to see how, of all the newspapers and major media outlets, the New York Times has come around a little bit on more than one occasion with respect to the school closings. But the fact that the media hasn't exploited that particular tragedy or consequence of the lockdowns is it's kind of unbelievable to me that this has just kind of gone unnoticed in America. The other thing that was interesting is there were so many people that before the election were suggesting that this whole thing was political, the media and the Democrat-led states. I wasn't actually one of those. I didn't believe it was that political. I thought that it was more like, if you follow kind of what happens in Florida sometimes, there's just a thirst in the media to exploit things like, I'll give you the example of like hurricanes, right? When you see a Cat 2 or Cat 3 hurricane coming in and it's got under 120-mile-an-hour winds and you've got some experience with this, it's just not going to do much. It's going to take some roofs off, but it's not going to be a catastrophic event. And what you see is there's like this huge exploitation. I remember Shepard Smith, when he was on Fox News, like just going crazy about, oh my God, everybody's going to die. Mm-hmm. You can actually see this on YouTube, that clip. But, and I think that that's what this is. It's still just a thirst for this dirty laundry, more than even the politics of it.
Let's do this. Let's go to break. There's something that I'm seeing in Arizona, which is the amount of people who are getting tested just to get tested, but they're not been exposed to anybody. They're just doing it out of their own paranoia, and how it's hurting people that actually have symptoms. And I want to talk about that with Michael Beecher's COVID-19 lockdowns on trial. Matt Neely, Ed Alexander. This is a classic in the Wake Up Tucson Wall of Voodoo.
Mexican radio.
Wake Up Tucson.
Wake up, Tucson, 8:20. Monday morning, back at it at Alexander, Christy Simone, Matt Neely, Michael Beatrice, and you. Getting crazy around here. Look out. I got some more accidents to watch out for at Ina and Oracle. We do have a problem now. And it looks like it's Ina just west of Oracle, but also looks like it's on Oracle there too. So we're going to just give you Ina and Oracle right now, and that'll get in the way. Nogales and Herman's Road, yep, out by Raytheon. We've got Ajo and La Choya. The traffic light is out there. It's a four-way stop. Have fun with that. Speedway and Silver Bell and Miracle Mile and Flowing Wells. All problems this morning. On our way up to 80 today. We got up to, 88 yesterday. 80 sounds real good, huh? 56 and starting to rise right now. I like the night light, baby.
The classic Cars. Bow, bow, bow. 8:21 in the morning.
You know what we got to do? It just occurred to me. We got to do a pirate radio station for. We got to just fly, flaunt the law and do a pirate radio station. That's it, Ed. We're going to do that.
Okay.
We call it Rahina Radio. 8:22 in the morning. Christy Simone, Matt Neely, and then we got one more segment here with Michael Beatrice from COVID-19 lockdowns on trial. Michael, we have a friend of ours who owns a lab that does COVID testing here, and I said to her, "Hey, what's the majority of your people?" And she said 95% of the people are people who have no symptoms, haven't been near anyone, maybe in 5 weeks. Maybe they say, "Oh, I was near my uncle who now has COVID. When was the last time you saw him? 5 weeks ago," and they're going to get tested. But the problem is people with actual symptoms are showing up, and I got a friend in Phoenix who had flu symptoms, who was like hell to go find a test, and he seemed like to be the only guy standing in a parking lot in Scottsdale, Arizona, who had symptoms. So the people with no symptoms are blocking out the people who might actually need a test.
Well, so kind of an interesting thing. So this is more of a personal story, and this just tells you a little bit about how some people feel about this based on the media. But 2 weeks ago, I had a bunch of neighbors over for a poker game, and one of them, the next day was a Friday. The next day on Saturday, he lost his sense of taste and smell. You know what that means, right? So he went and got tested, and he and his wife both tested positive.
Right.
So I texted the guys back and said, "Hey, just letting you know." And then one of them went to the ER that day. He had no symptoms, and he went to the ER because he was concerned, and they were like, "Well, I don't know what you want us to do. We can test you." He tested negative after a couple days or whatever. And another guy went and got tested immediately after. And so there's a little bit of fear about, oh my God, if I'm around, it's not like being around somebody that's a leper, right? I mean, if you're not symptomatic, it's a nothing. And then even if you are, you have a 99.75. That is the number. That's not a round, just throw out number, survival rate. So, but if you listen to just the media about this, you would be a little panicked.
Maybe that's why there's so many people at the hospitals, all of a sudden that they're running in there because they have symptoms, even though they're minor symptoms.
Or people are just testing this thing. They want to make themselves feel better that they're clean of the Rona.
And schools and employers are requiring that in many cases. True. So there is a little bit of that. I mean, I've got people that are working in offices here in Dallas, and so if one person gets it, they make the whole office go get tested. So you and then if you follow that WHO estimation, you're going to have a lot more people infected than we know. So you will get a lot of cases. You're just not seeing the same symmetrical curve that you saw in the spring and summer of cases and the relationships of hospitalizations and deaths. You're just not seeing. There's more separation now by a lot of separation than there was in the early months of this, and that's just because there's so many people infected that aren't sick. And that's not minimizing that there's some activity happening. One point I'd like to call out that's been kind of an oh wow moment is there's a lot of hype around, oh my God, look at South Dakota. South Dakota is certainly peaking over the last week. But so is every state around it. So South Dakota's open. They've got their schools open. They've got people at work, and they're doing no worse than Colorado. Every single state that's around their perimeter. I checked it out, right? I mean, Montana's actually got significantly more hospitalizations than South Dakota. So does Minnesota. So the default position for us should be to be open. And we've lost our way on this, right? It's just like what you said, that immediately it's like a frightened turtle, right? As soon as you see a little tiny spike in cases, it's like we just pull our head in, and it's like, okay, lockdown again.
We'll talk about excess deaths, Michael, because this is something that the press we know keeps ignoring.
Yeah, that's a huge factor. So we are about 350,000 excess deaths for 2020. That is a real number. And the contribution to that is a little over half is COVID-19. So the 250,000 death number for COVID-19 it is exaggerated. Kind of anybody in the know on the data, knows that. It's really more like 180,000 or so. You also have well over 100,000 what we call lockdown deaths. And so you're seeing a big rise in deaths that are in people aged 26 to 44. That's not a COVID vulnerable segment. Alzheimer's abandonments are way, way up. Diabetes deaths are way up. And what you're also going to see is we are way down in cancer diagnoses. So, of the 6 highest or most frequently or common cancers, 46% of those haven't gotten diagnosed this year. Those aren't going away.
Right.
We've got 650,000 cancer patients that didn't get treatments during the lockdowns. So 85%, I'm reading out just a couple stats for you, 85% of organ transplants didn't get done. So what you're going to end up seeing a greater number of lockdown death casualties than you will COVID-19 casualties. Again, it's not minimizing COVID. It's saying lockdowns are just a ridiculous response versus everybody kind of getting through this cautiously if you are in a vulnerable segment. It's the only tactic that makes any sense.
Well, treating COVID as something that's more important that could kill people than the other things that can kill people is where this is the part of the problem, right? Is we're so into the COVID thing that we're letting all these other things go. All right, here we go. So one more before we start off. Talk about. We only got 2 minutes, so I want to know. You talk about North Dakota in the excess deaths numbers is still one of the best ones in the country, correct?
Right, it's South Dakota. So South Dakota. So the U.S. is up 12% in all-cause deaths this year. That's a significant number. But 45th in the country is South Dakota. They're up 3%. That's better than 44 other states in the country. So if lockdowns are so great, it would seem like South Dakota would be blowing up and they would have more total excess deaths, which is the only real measuring stick that's got integrity. You would think that would be blowing up, and they're actually better than every state around them. Every single state that touches, and 44 others, but every state around, and yours isn't near there, but yours is significantly higher, right up in the teens. And so the question to ask is how is this working if excess deaths in places like Florida, the open states, Florida, and South Dakota aren't highest in the country?
Yeah, where's Florida and all that?
Florida's in the teens. Florida's about 10,
right.
And Florida has about a 2-to-1 ratio in their excess deaths of COVID deaths to lockdown deaths. But don't forget, they've got a big elderly population. They've got abandonment issues because of people that have been locked out of nursing homes and kind of denied some care. So they kind of have their own issues. But again, the default in this is to be open. The lockdown states should be, kind of kicking ass against the open states in every metric, and they just aren't. There's no statistical significance. And in South Dakota's case, they're doing better.
Michael, we got to go. Have an amazing Thanksgiving. We'll see you soon again. And thanks for – what was that hospitalization rate for COVID in the country one more time?
Right now it's about 8%.
That's a big number that everyone should know. So big number is important. Michael, have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Thanks, guys.
All right, Christy Nelson, we're going to talk about Wake Up Grateful. It all comes together next.
Let's do it. Wake up, Tucson, 8:33. Is it really 8:33 already at 10:30 The Voice? Ed Alexander, Christy Simone, and you at 10:30. Tucson traffic. You've got an accident northbound Oracle west of Ina. Nogales at Herman's Road, out by Raytheon. Traffic light malfunction at Ajo and La Cholla. And we've got an accident at Speedway and Silver Bell. Tucson weather, mostly sunny, pretty darn nice. 80 today after 88 yesterday. About 75 for your Thanksgiving Day. And if you slept with the windows open last night, about 45% humidity, down to about 55 this morning, and just starting to bounce up right now. So I'll call about 56, 57 degrees right now.
A little Kashmir stage band came back to our forefront of our brain from, of course, Baby Driver.
Amazing.
So, all right, I got a love letter for Ed Alexander here from Bev up in Catalina. Ed, congratulations on moving to your next chapter of life. I've been working 54 years, still working 60 hours a week, hoping to do what you are next year. We will miss you immensely. You've been great through all these years. Great job. Good luck, Bev, up in Catalina. So,
thank you, Bev. Yes, I believe so. Do we have Chrissy on? Is Chrissy there?
Christy.
Christy? Hello there. Okay, yes.
See, Ed's giving you behind the scenes on how he gets a person on the air.
I got one ear over here, one ear over there.
Mm-hmm. This is pretty good, Thumbs.
Okay.
Is she there?
Yes, right here, right now.
Look at this. Jesus Jones, he did that song. Perfect for the booking people for Christy Nelson. When she writes a book called Wake Up Grateful, and they book her 3 days before Thanksgiving, throw an extra couple of bucks at those people.
Wake Up Thankful. Yes.
Wake Up Grateful. Christy Nelson, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing? It's a perfect thankful week.
It is a network for grateful living. So tell us about Christy Nelson. Why are you someone talking about the world of gratefulness? Who the hell are you?
Good question. Okay, well, who is anybody? All right. Well,
amen, sister.
What gives me credibility to write a book about this is what you're asking, and it's my passion in life. Really, honestly, is to help people live more gratefully, and partly because I almost died in my early 30s, stage 4 cancer. And I know what it's like to face the possibility of not being alive and to realize how much perspective that can give us and then how quickly we can lose that perspective. So I wanted to write a book that would help people hold on to that perspective and get it back. And it's been an incredible joy to get to write this, and it's kind of a guidebook. So I'm hoping it'll help people.
So tell me this. So I see you have a master's in public administration from the Harvard Kennedy School. But then later on in life, working for Center for Mindfulness, Center for Yoga and Health, and Soul of Money Institute. So tell me about when you were getting your PA, your master's in public administration, what did you think you were going to do with it, and how did you get to where you're at now?
Oh, it's an interesting question. I wanted to understand leadership more than anything, and so I went to the Kennedy School at Harvard and I got a focus in leadership studies, and I wanted to figure out what did that mean to really lead life, to lead people, to do a good job embodying values and vision and mission. Like that's really what leadership is, and embody those things in such a way that you could really encourage people to change their own lives, to get stakeholders, to buy into a new way of life. And so that was what I learned. And whether that's through policies. The Kennedy School teaches all kinds of things, but I really loved studying leadership, and so that's what I've been focusing on for all the years since.
So talk about a network for grateful living. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. It's a nonprofit organization. We are all over the world. We started out as a virtual organization purely, and we have a website. It's called gratefulness.org. And it's basically, we are in the business of helping people and supporting people to live their lives more gratefully, knowing that, as our founder says, it's not happiness that makes us grateful, it's gratefulness that makes us happy. And so if we can help people be happier through being more appreciative of what they have in their lives, then we're doing our job well, and we serve a lot of people.
Human nature loves to take things for granted and just kind of blunder through our day. How do we make that conscious? How do we make the conscious transition from being the blunderer to the person paying attention and being grateful for little and big things in our life?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it?
That's why they pay me as much as they do around here.
I hope it's $1 million. No. So, yeah, right. I knew that would get a laugh. So I think it's really about, in many ways, seeing the ordinary as the extraordinary, really seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary, not taking things for granted as saying, basically, wow, I have something here that I might not always have, that my grandparents didn't used to have, that I didn't have once in my life, and that a lot of people don't have. So it's enlarging our context. And also just to say, wow, we take so much for granted from our bodies, which are just miraculous, absolutely stunningly miraculous, no matter what you might wish were different about them. And food, the food that we eat, which is extraordinary, and the land that we get to live on, and just being able to breathe is such a privilege right now, and we're really aware of it because of the pandemic, that I think this is a time that we can really turn towards the things that we often walk right past or blunder in the face of, as you say, and appreciate them more. And when we appreciate them more, our lives get a lot better.
What are the physical and spiritual? Let's start with what's the physical benefits of gratitude?
Immune response. They've done a lot of research now, so studies are kind of bearing out that we're much more physically robust. We have stronger immune systems. It's better for our heart, helps us deal with stress. There's all of those kinds of things, which then start to kind of cross over into the psychological or the emotional. I love there's one study that says that the more grateful you are, the more likable you are. So if you want to make friends, be grateful, which I think is a
I'm always attracted to ingrates personally, but
well, then we have a lot of work to do with you. You're giving me a very good case to work on here.
Second book.
Yeah. So I would say that there's resilience is one of the things, right? So being able to be resilient, and that's both a physiological, everything's connected, physiological, psychological, emotional. Being resilient makes a big difference when we're dealing with hard stuff. And so being grateful really helps us be more resilient in the face of such difficult things.
Yeah,
Matthew,
what you were saying a moment ago reminds me of a quote from St. Augustine that I used to carry around. I was looking in my bag for it because I used to carry it around with me. I just don't have it. But it goes such: men go abroad to wonder at the heights of mountains, the huge waves of the sea, at the long courses of the rivers, and the vast compass of the ocean, and at the circular motion of the stars, and they pass by themselves without wondering. And I think that really ties into what you were saying. I mean, the human body is amazing in what it does just by itself.
Wow, you're my kind of dude. That's great. That's beautiful that you carry that quote, and it's exactly true. So we can have perspective, like you get to the mountaintop, and sometimes people travel all over the place only to come home and realize how extraordinary their own lives are. And same thing with our bodies, right? So the body it's absolutely so magnificent. It would leave you just breathtakingly in awe all the time, aware of what has to work right, all the millions of things that have to conspire to keep you alive right now, that could leave you in awe. And that's enough to be grateful for, just to be able to breathe.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine she's a yoga teacher, and she's always telling me and everyone, well, drink a lot of water, but also be very conscious of your breath. Whatever's going on, go back to being conscious of your breath going in and out of your lungs and start from there. And there's a lot of truth to that.
I love that. It is very true, and especially right now, right? Like when people it's a privilege. It's to treasure being able to breathe as we can when so many people can't, and without assistance, and.
One last question for you, Christy. What's a technique other than that people who need to be more? They know they know there's going to be these benefits of being grateful. What's a kind of a technique or something you can suggest to them to get to that path, get on that path better?
Well, it's lots of different ways of returning, but I think one of them is, we have one little practice called from obligation to opportunity, and that would be a technique is to think about all the things that you have to do before the end of the day and make a list. We often carry around lists, and it's all those things that feel kind of burdensome usually, our responsibilities, our to-do list, and a lot of chores and errands, and you make a list of all the things you have to do, and then cross each of the things out that would say I have to, and write I get to, because it's a privilege. I get to because I can walk someplace, I can take care of someone, I can run an errand, and to have the ability to do those things is something that we can appreciate and treasure, as opposed to feeling beleaguered by the things in our lives that we have to do. So it's a good switch.
Perfect book for Christmas and the holiday season and Thanksgiving, of course. Wake Up Grateful, Christy Nelson. Wake Up Grateful. Thank you for being on Wake Up Tucson. And good luck with your book.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
8:45 in the morning. Christy Simone, Matt Neely, Ed Alexander. When we come back, we're going to finish off Matt's reasons Ed should retire. And then we have... I have a song that was written by one of our listeners for you, for one of your favorite songs of your life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is your life.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
Here we go. The Power Trio.
For the man who turned me on to Rush.
You're welcome.
Christy Simone. Hey, wake up, Tucson. I know you're awake. 8:48 in the morning. Ed Alexander, Christy Simone, Matt Neely, and you at 10:30. The Voice. Tucson traffic. We got that accident northbound Oracle, westbound Ina right now. Nogales and Hermans Road. That could be cleared up. I think we're going to take that out and let you go this morning. Traffic light at Ajo and La Cholla, and an accident at Speedway and Silverbell last time we looked. Look for a high today. A gorgeous day. Blue skies and those cool clouds, and 80 degrees. Today in the upper 50s. Right now. So it's Johnny Mandel's birthday today.
That's true.
Johnny wrote this song. He worked with everybody from Sinatra to Peggy Lee to Streisand to actually did all the strings on Michael Jackson's Off the Wall album and lots more. Johnny Mandel.
Oh.
Suicide is painless?
That's it.
Thank you very much.
After the Grateful thing. Yeah, I can't help it. Anyway, there you go.
8:49 in the morning. You're on the Wake Up Tucson show. Ed Alexander's last, let's see, he's got 6 hours and 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But who's counting?
I know.
Matt Neely's here, good friend of the show for all
Matt.
these years.
Morning.
Thanks for being here, man.
My wife did go to Trader Joe's. Amarino cherries are all sold out.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
I'm telling you, man. I went back and got another 2 after you gifted us one. Those are now like the gold.
It's like toilet paper, so toilet paper and Amarino cherries. That like in the currency hierarchy, you know, it's like that's like a $100 bill now. You know, toilet paper's like a 50. You know.
All right, Matt was doing the Ed Alexander's top 10 reasons for retiring. We're on the bonus tracks right now. The last one he did was Ed misses cutting his fingers while splicing tape.
Goes back a little bit.
So, so far, my favorite one, I think, is, let's see. He wants to use his real name for once is amazing.
There you go.
That is so good. And then actually,
only on my bad checks.
Number 10, women who once requested him to play Misty now ask for play shuffleboard for me.
Yeah.
True.
Or pickleball.
Pickleball. I'm going to learn pickleball.
Doggone it.
That was a mild blew that
line.
one, but still good.
Blew the line.
What's your next one?
So actually, this one kind of came into play. No longer has to ad lib while D. Simone plugs in.
Did that today. Yep.
Absolutely. We've been him and I have been covering for each other on this show for 11 years.
That's what the music does, friends. Okay.
Okay. Next is you try back timing King Crimson's Lark's Tongues in Aspect.
Thank you. To get on top of the hour news. Thank you. Right. You're good, Matt.
He's more than just a pretty voice. That was one reason he's retiring. He's more than just a pretty voice. Next is Sunrise Power Up ain't what it used to be, if you know what I mean. And the last bonus track.
This is amazing. You're going to love this, Ed.
Preparing a harassment suit against Higgins over that body shot incident.
Thank you. I am not. That is a highlight of my career. Are you kidding? A body shot on the bar in Nogales.
That was
with the Wakies right all around.
Here's the best one. I was not there to witness it.
Yeah.
Him and Bonnie and what's her buddy's name? I forgot. And Joe, they went off whatever. And then Ned's like, Ed almost looked mildly ashamed for when it first happened, right?
Well, Joe said, you want to do a body shot? I go, sure. I have no idea what a body shot is. I've done shots before. I can do this.
We got to find the picture. Ed is laying on the bar in Nogales, Mexico.
Yes.
It's just, wow.
And you put the shot on your belly and they
lime in your mouth.
Slurp it up. Who knew? I had no idea. Thank you, Joe.
All right, here we go. So now we got to get to this song. This is very important. This is from Kurt Schmidt.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he says, I had some, quote, creative downtime this evening. Let's
Kurt's
see.
always been there, man.
Absolutely. So here we go. This is called, I'm not going to sing it because it'll be very bad if I sing it, but I'd like to. But it's I want you to imagine the song in your head by the great, amazing Debbie Boone called You Light Up My
Life. Thank you.
So many times I turn on the radio listening for the DJ to play my song. So many tunes that meant nothing to me till Ed Alexander's voice came along. Then he lit up my life. He played my request, and I carried on into the day and all through the whole night long. Ed's dulcet tones broadcast o'er the airwaves from his golden mic to listeners' ears. Sometimes were prone to fits of ranting, which made us all laugh so hard we cried tears. And he lit up our lives, he played our requests, and we carried on into the day and all through the whole night long. Wow. 'Cause Ed, he lit up our lives, he played our requests, and we partied on into the day and all through the night long. You can't say we're wrong, you know that we're right, it's true. Ed lit up our lives.
Whoa.
Lyrics by Kurt Schmidt, somewhere near Tucson, Arizona.
Thank you, man. That took some work. That was really nice.
So nothing better than turning Ed's arch enemy.
You light up my
life.
Well, that's because nobody sang it. That's why it was so good. Please.
Now, tomorrow's show, we're also going to add Van Buren's going to be sitting in with me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we are going to, Van Buren's going to sit in with me in between Pat Sneezek, get to know TPD, and then a road show with Carmen.
Cool.
And he's going to be doing top 10 movies about retirement and aging.
Retirement. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll go for that.
So, but that's
he's going to be the Bette Midler.
How's that?
What does that mean?
She was the last in-studio guest on the Carson Show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. So, Matt,
I'm going to grow a beard like Dave Letterman.
Oh yeah, right.
I can't stand that look.
I don't get it.
Now you had a couple of things about you want to get. We're literally going to rapid fire it for 4 minutes. You had Crystal Foster, and what was the other one?
Oh, just done this golf deal in Oro Valley.
Oh.
So the only advice that I have for Mayor Winfield, Oro is Spanish for gold, not golf. So it's very close. I can see how he got.
All right, I'm glad you brought this up. KVOA reported this last week, Friday, I think. Mayor Winfield has lost his mind. He was elected because Satish Hiremath bought that damn golf course. Then what happened was when they started kicking the tires on whether or not we're going to reduce it by 18 holes, the people around there got all who live on the course got all riled up, had their green shirts, yelling at people like a bunch of maniacs. Did a recall petition that they didn't get done, but scared him enough that he gave them what they wanted, right? And screwed everyone who voted for him. Okay. Well, now what does he want to do? He wants to buy the old out-of-business Vistoso golf course. I mean, Joe, have you lost your mind?
Maybe.
So I had to text him. I'm going to give you my text message, Matt. What are you going to say? Well, I'm looking for this.
No, that's just...
Okay. I texted him, and I said, hey, bro. Oh, here you go. I sent him the thing. I said, with all due respect, your disregard for the people who helped put you in office is amazing. So I said, what we got to do? We're going to recall this guy now? I mean, it's so unbelievable. You were put in office because Satish Hiremath used taxpayer dollars to buy a golf course.
Yeah.
And now you're going to buy an out-of-golf course. And
that's gone fallow.
That's gone fallow, and they're going to turn into open space or blah, blah, blah. Joe, you've lost your gourd. Now, we'll have more on this. Matt Neely.
I feel for their plight, the people that live there.
We have 2 minutes.
Ed, I just congratulations, Ed. And I've told Ed this before. You know, he spent 50 years connecting a community through music, and I've got all sorts of friends. And when I see him, they talk about how they listen to him at KTKT or KWFM or wherever along the way. And that's just and you know, Chris, people come into the studio. Hey, that's Ed Alexander. I mean, just so people from all walks of life listen to this guy for a long time, and that's just Ed's connecting a community through music, and I think that's really cool. And so, thank you, Ed. And,
no, thank you. It's
great.
like, oh, that old guy. That's it. I remember when, but no, we did. And thank you, Matt. Just one of the wonderful people we met in the circle of Wake Up Tucson. Thanks to Chris.
Yeah.
And Joe too back in the day. The best. So we'll all keep together. And I'm going to get back on Facebook someday.
Please don't. Save your sanity.
I know.
Lots of happy hours.
It's the only way I can find folks. But Matt, you've You've been a bright spot, man. You've been really cool. Shining star, and thank you for being a friend. And, we got a couple more to do here.
You bet.
And then, I'll go talk to myself like I did when I was a little kid. I'll get my puppets back out. Well,
yes.
Puppets will be back on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we'll go for, what was the other guy's name? It was Cheap, and what's the guy who's the ungender one?
I forgot.
Is it K, J? Everything
Well,
was J.
I'm just saying is for you, okay, this puppet thing.
Yeah.
You always want to do Mr. Cheap's Citizen Kane, and I think it's time to finally do the Citizen Kane with Mr. Cheap's. I think that's the way to do this.
Okay.
House bad.
Now, one thing I want to add here about Ed, and I'm going to be saying mushy things about Ed, but it's in my brain right now. There's no bullcrap, Ed. So when you have this passionate, comforting kind of voice, that's Ed. We Ed and I have talked about. We've told you about things like puke voice, right? Give me a little puke voice.
Hey, baby, yeah. Okay. You got it. All the way.
Well, Ed has his radio voice. That passion and that comfort that you hear and that openness and that friendliness, that's him. The guy on the radio is the guy you meet for a beer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when you say you don't want to meet your heroes, Ed's one of those guys that won't disappoint you. If you like him on the air, you'll like him when you see him.
Well, thank you, sir. And I'm going to play some of some old air checks from the 70s and 80s.
I love
in the
it.
next couple of days, okay?
All right. Zach's coming up next. Bill Buckmaster at noon. Wake up. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.